What's up, E-Units? This is Kobalt Steel with another Kobalt vs. video. Last time, we looked at Circuit City's failed attempt to make their disposable DVD system, DivX, sound awesome to the public. Today, we are going to venture into new territory and look at a movie, specifically a cash-in on Disney's original Beauty and the Beast adaptation, created by Golden Films and distributed by Good Times Entertainment. I remember in my youth going to Stars on Demand looking for a movie to watch and coming across what I thought was the Disney Beauty and the Beast, only to be greeted with this movie. Blasted knockoffs. I couldn't even tell because On Demand, at least that one, didn't provide pictures. Will Good Times offer what they call themselves with their golden films? Or will they have to sue them for misleading us? Let's find out. Let the regeneration of the beast commence. Before we go in, we should have a little history segment with our production. This Beauty and the Beast was released in 1992, produced by American animation studio Golden Films and distributed by American distribution company Good Times Entertainment, with the clear intention of capitalizing on the monstrous success of the Disney version of Beauty and the Beast. Founded in 1984 by the Kyrie brothers, Good Times Entertainment, originally just releasing public domain productions, became particularly infamous for their capitalizations of higher budgeted animation productions, which was primarily done by teaming up with other studios to develop their lower budgeted version of the popular movie. Although the production of these movies was legal due to the stories being public domain, Good Times was sued by the Walt Disney Company over the cover art being too much like their cover art and fooling customers. This caused Good Times to clearly mark their productions as their own, although it seems to have been a temporary measure, as several later DVD releases would lack these markings. Good Times Entertainment would later expand into publishing children's books as GT Publishing and publishing games as GT Interactive Software. GT Interactive Software will later be acquired by Infogrames Entertainment, and the whole thing will be rebranded and acquired by Atari SA as Atari Incorporated by 2003. 2005 would see the end of Good Times Entertainment when they filed for bankruptcy and got their assets acquired by Gaiam, which made them spin the assets into Gaiam Vivendi Entertainment by 2012, which later got merged into New Video in 2013. But enough with history, let's see this movie. Warning, spoilers ahead. The movie opens with a spoilerific song that practically reveals the whole plot in 2 minutes. Well, I guess that's all for the story segment. The movie already told me what it was. For whatever reason, a tradition of Good Times movies is to have it begin with a song that reveals important details of the plot. I have no clue why these songs are in the movie, especially when the songs don't really do anything else to the plot, but these really shouldn't be there. Another bizarre tradition for Good Times movies is that they tend to start off with a sequence showing kids on a roller coaster against stock footage from their other movies, which was done by another studio known as Jetlag Productions. I thought I would just share it with you guys. Anyway, our movie truly begins with one of our main characters, Beauty, returning from assisting people in the poor section of the city when she comes across her sisters returning from a shopping spree. Beauty greets them warmly, but winds up being bullied for her sympathetic nature to the poor people.
Visit the poor section of the city. Your clothes are perfect. You fit in with all the beggars who live there.
How dare she support the lower classes? That poor sympathizer.
Meanwhile,
the family is experiencing a financial crisis when the clerks hired for the business were stealing money and the ships sent to China were lost in a typhoon.
I hired them all myself. They're very, very good men.
Either these thieves are very good, or this guy lacks a head, metaphorically speaking. With no money from the business left, the family decides to sell off their assets and living quarters to their creditors to pay off the debt. putting them in poverty, but several years later,
A year since Father lost all his money.
one of the lost ships returns and the family celebrates, even though the ship was hit by a storm.
We're not rich yet, you know. We don't even know if there's any cargo on that ship.
So you're going to sporadically celebrate something even though you don't know the condition of the situation. That is very, very brilliant. The father heads off to the harbor to inspect the cargo, and the sisters ask for expensive items like dresses and jewelry, while Beauty asks for only a rose, all of which father accepts to bring home in a carriage, seemingly. You guys are expecting quite a bit from a ship that was hit by a storm. Father arrives at the harbor and inspects the cargo hold, only to be surprised that the ship that got annihilated by a storm got annihilated by a storm.
My spices, they're ruined. Tea leaves are useless. Silk, it's good for nothing now.
No kidding. The ship was annihilated by a storm.
Ship as well, I'm afraid. It's damaged beyond repair. Then put into a remote island for 3 months of repairs.
But you said the ship was repaired.
Aye, only enough for her to make sail.
Dude, make up your mind. Unless I'm missing something, either the ship was repaired enough to make it back to the harbor, or the ship was damaged. You're just confusing me. The father treks home disappointed, but stumbles upon a castle after a freakish incident with a lightning storm. However, a mysterious presence seems to be inviting him in, offering hospitality. Well, according to father, that is.
I've got a feeling someone's inviting you in.
Of course! When a door creaks open, that truly means that someone is inviting you in. But I wonder why you go to jail for that. Father spends the night in the castle and heads off the next morning, but not before picking a rose for Beauty, which infuriates the presence offering hospitality, which was the Beast. A very adorable beast, if you ask me. Oh shoot, I am so scared. Someone needs to hold my hand. Beast is so upset he demands that the father remain in the castle as his prisoner, although father accidentally lets it slip that he has a daughter named Beauty.
This changes things.
All over a name. You know, she could be very hideous. Beast offers a bargain that the father send the daughter instead, threatening to destroy them both should neither appear in the castle. Father returns to see his children one last time, deciding to guilt Beauty into asking for a rose, having decided to be the Beast's prisoner and telling the family about it.
Cherish it, my dear, for it will cost me my life.
I don't know why you need to do that. That seems completely unnecessary. Father prepares to go to the Beast, but lets it slip that Beauty was supposed to go. Feeling responsible, Beauty insists on going in his place, but Father constantly resists, until she says that he must do it if he loves her.
Beauty, isn't it? The Beast.
Oh! That's an interesting response, if you ask me. The two arrive in the castle and are confronted by the Beast, in which Beauty accepts being prisoner, but Father constantly resists, going as far as begging for her life, with a smile.
Her heart is pure, and it is for that pure heart I now beg.
Just look at how serious this man is, smiling while begging for a life. Beast gives Father 2 chests of riches, hoping to ameliorate the pain, which Father initially rejects before Beauty begs him to go home after Beast threatens his life.
This is of your doing. Now be gone before I strike you dead.
Just look at that menacing figure. Super threatening. I am very scared. Sometime later, Beauty meets up with the maid of the castle, Clara, who confuses windows for doors. Anyway, Clara tries to comfort Beauty in the castle, but Beast arrives with his obviously scary presence.
I frightened you, didn't I? I frightened everyone.
I'm scared, E-Units. I'm terrified. Beauty thought that he would destroy her then and there, but Beast just couldn't do it, allowing Beauty to do whatever she pleases in the castle, minus leaving. Although, he does want her to be his wife. I don't know about you, but that just sounds a little unusual, if you ask me. Later that night, after seeing the dresses provided by Beast, Beauty is visited by the fairy of the castle, where she is told that the Beast is evil. After this line,
"And you've come to tell me Beast is really kind and gentle, no matter what he looks like on the outside?"
that is quite a bizarre and strange deduction, especially after all the nonsense Beast did with your father. After what is likely months, Beauty becomes accustomed and used to the castle, enjoying a day in the greenhouse and a dinner and dance on the balcony, showing off the scene at the beginning of the movie. E-Units! I am still terrified of this Beast! He is dancing. That's just horrendously scary. Someone, please, hold my hand! After the dance, Beast proposes to Beauty weirdly, but it doesn't go through. Instead, Beauty wants to visit her family again, which, after some convincing, Beast allows, if she returns exactly 1 week later, because
If you leave me, then I shall die of loneliness.
Die of loneliness? What about Clara? Unless Clara is just that bad. After that sequence, Beauty has a nightmare where the fairy shows her the souls of the lost women that preceded her, annihilated by the Beast, and tells her to stay away from him. Beauty doesn't believe it because...
"Told me." "He lies."
Did he tell you? Really? Well, the packaging on a bunch of ribs I bought told me it was 100% pork, but it was actually pork with beef and chicken. That packaging was false advertisement. People can tell you anything.
"I'm not gonna let some silly dream scare me. Not when I'm so happy."
Ugh. That is some very bizarre mentality. Beauty later wakes up at a new house that the family bought, which makes no sense, and is reunited with them, much to her sister's dismay.
Oh no, she's back. Now all the men who come to call on us will want to marry Beauty.
The family has a conversation about the Beast and they want Beauty to stay, although she says that she must return in a week or else Beast will die. To solve this problem, one of the brothers suggests this.
"If I stay any longer, he will die."
Then let him die.
"No, Nathan.
Goodness, dude, this is getting terrifying with these people smiling while suggesting death to a creature. However, the sisters, for whatever reason, find Beauty's happiness to be very annoying, and they plan to make her life miserable by making her stay longer, therefore killing the Beast. Initiating the sequence, they cry and provide Beauty with false love just before she leaves, which Beauty doesn't find suspicious, but whatever. I guess the possible years of torment and bullying meant nothing to her. Beauty stays for the additional day. Awkward jumping sequence. But is confronted by Clara, who takes her back to the castle to save Beast, who is dying of loneliness. You know, Clara, if you managed to get there like that, you could just went to get Beauty before that whole dying of loneliness thing happened. Beauty cries in regret, accepting the marriage proposal, which restores Beast's energy levels and turns him into a human.
Years ago, a spell was placed on me by an evil fairy. I was imprisoned in a beast's body. Only if a woman pure of heart would agree to marry me could the spell be broken.
No morals or anything? No, don't judge people by their looks? Just evil fairies turning into a beast? Cool story, B Unit. Clara arrives with the fairy of the castle, who turns out to be the evil fairy, and Clara's sister. Okay. Clara weds the two, forcing Beauty into permanent royalty, and the film ends on a slow dance. And that's the story of Beauty and the Beast Good Times version. On to the review. Let's start with the story. Something about Good Times' Beauty and the Beast is that it's somewhat more faithful to the original story, retaining the original versions of the characters, plot points, elements, etc. It's almost as if they just used the original story as a script in some areas. However, something we all should know is that a movie that is faithful is not necessarily a good movie. And this is a good example of that. I know someone will blow up on me over that, so let me explain. Faithful adaptations can be and usually are good movies, and we've obviously seen several of these movies. But a faithful adaptation only means that the adaptation is close to source material. It doesn't necessarily mean the adaptation is good. Some things don't translate well into other mediums, and some things may have to be removed to improve the flow of the adaptation. I'll make a full video on the subject later. Anyway, although the movie keeps a good number of elements from the original, the movie does retain some of the original story's problems. A few examples include the sisters of Beauty wanting Beast dead even though she's out of their hair, and the bizarre sequence of Beast offering hospitality to Beauty's father in the shadows and getting angry at him taking a rose, which is on Beast because he was in the shadows and wasn't responding to Beauty's father. What else was he supposed to think? I also find that sequence bizarre for father assuming the creaking doors and food was an invitation for him. That's just stupid. Along with that, despite the movie taking a lot of elements from the original story, a good portion of the original's context, meanings, and explanations were seemingly removed, with the most notable being the message of the story. In the original, Beast was turned into a beast because he refused to let a lady in due to her looks, and she wanted to teach him a lesson. That information was discarded in this movie, and now she just did it for seemingly no reason. Moving away from faithfulness, the story has some pacing issues, with the first half of the movie, the father half, being somewhat slow, and the last half, the Beauty half, feeling very scrunched and rushed out. I mean, the first half would show almost everything at a slow yet easy to digest pace, but the second half will go by so fast, the movie would just skip over development to show us supposedly established elements and relationships. In fact, there are many differences between the two halves of the movie, to the point that they seem like two movies crammed into one. Whereas the first half is very subdued and reserved in tone, the second half feels very surreal and crazy in some ways. Heck, the halves seem to feature their own characters, as the family is hardly mentioned in the second half, and Clara doesn't appear in the first half. There also seems to be a few careless story errors, with the most notable being the father being surprised that his ship was destroyed in a storm when he knew this was the case before, and even cautioned his daughters about asking for too much. There are also a few scenes with some unfortunate implications, such as this ending scene where Clara makes Beauty a ruling princess, which basically says that Clara forced Beauty into royalty. That's not cool. What if she's not fit for leadership? As for the characters, they seem to range from ultra-simplistic archetypes, such as the sugary sweet Beauty, the mean sisters, and the bumbling father, to blank slates like the brothers, and they're as interesting as the archetypes and blank slates tend to get. And I mean these archetypes specifically. Beauty is just your standard sugary sweet princess saint girl who loves helping people, but she seems very accepting to her fate, which is unusual. She's just very uninteresting and boring to follow, but she does have a few awkward moments that don't improve her character but make her seem weird, with this being an example.
tell me Beast is really kind and gentle, no matter what he looks like on the outside?
The sisters are just your standard mean and jealous people, while the brothers seem to just be exposition buckets. Beast in this movie is not good. He barely has anything to him, and the stuff he does have is ridiculous. I mean, he wants to kill Beauty's father for picking a rose, even though he led him to think that it's fine. And what's his deal with the roses anyway? It's not like they're connected to his life in this movie or anything. He also doesn't learn anything from the whole Beast ordeal, thanks to the message of the movie being extremely diluted. Along with that, there's supposed to be some relationship happening between Beauty and Beast, but we don't see the development of the relationship. They just magically become in love with each other. Clara is Beast's assistant and is the comedic relief character, practically doing everything the assistants in the Disney version do. She's practically one of two fine-ish characters in the movie, although the humor provided by her is just lacking, primarily with her not appearing as much as she should have appeared. However, the real star of this movie is, of course, Father, aka Old Man. He's pretty much the bumbling bumpkin character, caring in a sense, but not the brightest bulb. And like the others, he doesn't develop out of this state. However, this guy has the funniest scenes in the movie, such as being surprised at a ship damaged in a storm when he knew that already, and the scene where he's smiling while begging for his daughter's life. Let's do quality of productions now. The movie doesn't look too ugly, as the backgrounds are decent and the character designs, while weirdly cartoonish and goofy, do have some level of appeal to them. However, the actual animation is very poor, with movements being sometimes choppy and characters sometimes going off model in an unpolished fashion. Also, I don't know about you guys, but something about this color palette looks very muted. I don't know if it's the choice of colors or the shades used, but something about this movie looks generally muted, like it's just slightly more gray than it should be. Music is generic, but okay really. The intro song, while spoilerific, sounds decent, but it's the only singing song in this movie. The background music, being orchestral music, is okay to listen to, and is appropriate for the settings, but as said before, it's generic orchestral music heard in other places. From what I've read, the music is a collection of public domain works, but I'm not too sure if that's for this version or the Golden Films 1999 version. Voice acting is generally okay, but there are a few quirks here and there. Some characters seem to have a difficulty emoting, especially Beauty, and some characters just don't exhibit the appropriate emotion for certain scenes. Let's see how entertaining the movie is. In terms of entertainment, the film does provide a level of unintentional hilarity, based heavily on how bad and ridiculous it gets. In terms of story, the errors can get a little hilarious as characters can be surprised at things that they already know or spontaneously think bizarre thoughts. Animation goofs are present throughout the entire production and are very hilarious to see, including the infamous derpy-eyed father in this scene. I already mentioned the one good song in this movie, but unfortunately these pieces of entertainment, and not just the music, are very few and too dispersed in a movie that is generally uninteresting and boring. I mean, aside from the goofs, the humor is flat, the story isn't good, most of the characters are boring, the music is generally generic, and the visuals are just standard. Worse, the goofs, while funny, are not laugh-out-loud hilarious on their own right. In general, the entertainment is just somewhat thin. Beauty and the Beast Good Times edition, despite its faithfulness to the original story and decent looking visuals of okay music, is a shoddy movie with many plot errors, awkward pacing, disjointedness, and many details being left out for seemingly no reason. Although the movie did have its moments of hilarity and brought us a now famous internet character, the film is just generally not good and should best be left alone should you come across this movie in some store or something. Well, that is all for today, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more Kobalt Steel. Until next time, see you all later.